In a world often blinded by privilege, what if the most profound Christmas magic wasn't found in grand mansions, but in the forgotten corners, among those society deemed poor? Join us as we uncover A Christmas Miracle, The Doctor's Gift, a timeless tale by Sophia Swett.
Heliogabalus, or Gobble as he was known, was shoveling snow, a task almost as big as himself, yet he didn't give up easily.
Mrs. Pincham, who kept the poor farm, had told him to shovel the path, a command Gobble couldn't ignore due to her strict nature.
Boys in the village often teased Gobble about being town's poor and his clothes, but only the much larger ones dared, as Gobble was known to defend himself. Gobble's true purpose seemed to be defending Methuselah, a delicate foundling Mrs. Pincham deemed spindlin' and good for nothing.
Mrs. Pincham's resentment towards Methuselah stemmed from his unknown origins, feeling he was a burden Poplarville shouldn't bear.
In contrast, Gobble, a resident by right, was named Heliogabalinus by the learned Dr. Barnacle, deemed an uncommonly fine baby. Godly was strong and willing, making him tolerable to Mrs. Pincham, but fragile Methuselah remained a thorn in her side. Methuselah's hip disease made him even more troublesome, yet Mrs. Pincham showed a surprising soft spot, adding plums to his porridge and letting Gobble draw him on a sled.
Everyone has a soft spot, though it's not always easy to find, and Mrs. Pincham's harshness might have been a product of her own difficult life among the poorhouse's queer people.
On rare, good-natured evenings, the poorhouse transformed into a home, with residents roasting apples, sharing nuts, and Uncle Sim telling stories by the fire. Tragically, Mrs. Pincham's good humor never extended to holidays, especially Christmas, when she was always all tried to pieces, filling Gobble with dread. Village children, carrying a Christmas tree, cheerfully wished Gobble a Merry Christmas, then declared with surprise, "Why, that's the poorhouse. It's never Christmas there." The children's words, "It's never Christmas there," struck Gobble deeply, making him feel weary and resentful of being town's poor. Just then, Methuselah's little pinched face, always looking worn like an old man, appeared at the window, watching Gobble shovel. Gobble approached the window to tell Methuselah, "Tomorrow's Christmas, Thusily," prompting Methuselah's worried question about Mrs. Pincham. In the poorhouse, she always meant Mrs. Pincham. Gobble, despite his fears, tried to cheer Methuselah, recalling a Christmas with turkey and plum pudding. Methuselah, unable to recall such a feast, wondered if Santa Claus truly existed or if Uncle Sim's stories were mere fabrication. Gobble firmly declared his belief in Santa Claus, having seen presents brought to village children. A new idea struck Methuselah. "Then why doesn't he ever come here and bring us some?" he asked, wondering if they were too bad or if Santa was too proud for the poorhouse. Gobble theorized Santa Claus might not find the poorhouse, citing its crooked road and lack of worthy children beyond the grand Squire Thorndyke's estate. Methuselah longed for a true Christmas like Uncle Sim described, wondering if such wonders were too good to be true. Gobble, always focusing on the bright side, promised Methuselah plums, mince pie, and a sled ride up Three Pine Hill for Christmas. Gobble constantly sought the bright side for Methuselah's sake, swallowing his own big lump of sorrow and pretending there was nothing to cry about. Returning to his shoveling, Gobble turned back to promise Methuselah, "When I'm a man, you shall have Christmases thusly." Gobble resumed shoveling, envisioning the snow ramparts as the magnificent Chinese wall Uncle Sim always told about. Finishing the path, Gobble heard sleigh bells and saw the butcher's wagon, filled with boys, heading to the village. Combining pleasure with business, the boys careened past a large Newfoundland dog, a stranger to Gobble, carrying a basket. The reckless butcher's boy veered into a snowdrift, startling the horse, which plunged and ran over the dog, leaving it helpless and howling. The boys, unable or unwilling to stop, careered on, abandoning the injured dog to its fate. Gobble rushed to the dog's side,
petting its shaggy head and assessing its injury, concluding a broken or sprained leg.
Gobbly's experience as a makeshift veterinarian was extensive, having doctored a lame rooster and successfully treated a kitten with a sprained ankle, and keenly observed a puppy's leg being set.
Being strong, Gobbly managed to help the injured dog towards the poorhouse, secretly guiding it into the woodshed to avoid Mrs. Pincham's wrath. Gobbly fashioned a splint for the dog's leg, using liniment-soaked cloths, and the grateful dog licked his hand. Gobbly beckoned Methuselah to the woodshed, where Methuselah, overjoyed, believed Santa Claus had sent the dog as a Christmas present. Methuselah, sure of Santa's involvement, believed Gobbly could cure the dog, and perhaps Mrs. Pincham would let them keep him. Gobbly's Santa Claus theory was dashed when he found the dog's basket, revealing letters addressed to a famous physician, Dr. Carruthers, visiting Squire Thorndyke. Despite disappointment, Gobbly realized Mrs. Pincham likely wouldn't let them keep the injured dog, finding solace in the thought that at least it wouldn't be shot.
The dog whined in pain, but licked Gobbly's hand, recognizing a friend, while Methuselah, weeping, concluded Santa Claus was too proud for the poorhouse.
Gobbly, never having been inside Squire Thorndyke's gate, approached the back doors with fear, wary of the stuck-up servants. At the sight of the dog, servants raised a cry and ushered Gobbly before Squire Thorndyke and Dr. Carruthers, who resembled Santa Claus. Dr. Carruthers pitied the dog, petting it as if a baby. He then asked Gobbly, who had never received such affection, who had set the dog's leg. The doctor, intrigued, asked Gobbly how he knew how to set a leg, prompting Gobbly to recount his experiences with the rooster, kitten, and puppy. Dr. Carruthers offered Gobbly a life-changing opportunity to become his office boy and perhaps, one day, a doctor himself. Gobbly, breathless, realized the offer meant escaping Mrs. Pincham, leaving behind town's poor, and learning to be a doctor, a dream Mrs. Pincham had sneered at. Unable to speak, Gobbly's radiant face finally answered the doctor's repeated question, "Would I, sir? Wouldn't I?" Dr. Carruthers finalized the arrangement, but Gobbly's joy vanished as Methuselah's pale face appeared, prompting him to realize he couldn't leave his frail friend. "I can't go, sir. I forgot. No, I can't go," Gobbly cried, a huge lump in his throat, then ran home to avoid being called a crybaby. That Christmas night, with Mrs. Pincham at a festival, Mr. Pincham allowed a roaring fire, apples, nuts, popcorn, and Joe's violin, creating a rare moment of merriment. Despite merriment and Methuselah's peppermint drop from Gobbly, the residents lived in dread of Mrs. Pincham's sudden return, always suspicious of their good times. Just as they settled down for Uncle Sim's story, a loud knock at the door sent everyone scrambling, until they remembered Mrs. Pincham never knocked. Mr. Pincham, pretending calm, told Gobbly to open the door, revealing Squire Thorndyke and the city doctor, who Methuselah instantly recognized as Santa Claus, receiving a package of candy. Methuselah, believing the doctor was Santa, confidentially welcomed him, questioning why he hadn't come before and assuring him they weren't very bad boys, despite Mrs. Pincham's claims. Methuselah declared, "I've got Gobbly," causing Dr. Carruthers to look sharply at Gobbly, asking if he was the reason Gobbly wouldn't go with him. Gobbly's biggest lump finally got the better of him, as Methuselah, clapping for joy, understood only that Santa Claus would take him somewhere with Gobbly. Methuselah was cured at the hospital, and Gobbly became a famous surgeon doctor, his compassionate heart ensuring he'd always sympathize with suffering creatures, a truth a now-cured Methuselah would wholeheartedly agree with. Gobbly's unwavering empathy and selflessness, especially towards Methuselah, sparked a chain of events that proved true wealth lies in kindness. His story reminds us that even in the bleakest places, a heart full of compassion can attract the greatest blessings, and that sometimes the true spirit of Santa Claus wears a doctor's coat. What act of kindness will you share this season? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this timeless message.